welcome to another installment of The Goddess Keys, where we unleash and unlock the tools and the jewels to support us with coming back home to ourselves, to our holographic truth of being God, Goddess in form, and wiping away all the veils of illusion which would tell us otherwise. And in this installment, we're going to talk a little bit about vision thought form and what that means specifically if you identify as being an Indigo type 3. I'm actually kind of leaning away from that terminology, but I have created a lot of content around Indigo type 3s, and I still get a lot of questions about it, like specifically on TikTok, sometimes on YouTube as well. And there's a lot of folks who are waking up and they feel as though they are here to really balance karmic scales, heal a lot of karma, do a lot of shadow work. And a lot of folks have really identified with these Indigo type 3 terminology. And I have as well on my journey, but I have kind of moved past that because the way I see things now is that if you are here to activate your DNA, immediately you're an Indigo type 3. Like, you're here to heal and balance a lot of karma because the whole human species has a great deal of karma. Now, there's going to be some beings on the planet who have more karma than others, and those are beings that who have been around for longer, okay? And a lot of these beings are activating at this time. And the folks who have been on the planet for a really long time and have fallen into some really deep karmic patterns are experiencing an awakening and a reclamation of their ancestral identity. And in order to reclaim that identity, it does mean going through all of the records, all of the karmic records, all of the ways that human consciousness has fallen, and really kind of doing some rectification of that. And the thing about an Indigo type 3, and this is something that I've shared in other content that I've created, is an Indigo type 3 feels as though they have like two souls in one body, and they feel like they're in a constant state of war internally, and that internal war manifests within the external, okay? Now, a lot of the information that I had received previously as it relates to Indigo type 3s came from Ascension Glossary, and that was a good resource for me to utilize. And I did get a lot of tools as it relates to Ascension, but it did, there was a point where I kind of reached a fork in the road and kind of needed to go into a different direction. And that's why I'm working a lot more with the aligning with Earth materials, because it's channeled from the consciousness of Earth and the nature kingdoms, okay? And I definitely got a lot of nudges from my own higher self that I needed to do a lot of work around decentering humanity and not just getting my information from humans, okay? And so a lot of ascension materials out there are going to do a couple things. You're going to get information from humans, or you're going to get information from extra dimensional beings who are being channeled through human form, okay? And another thing that I definitely encountered on my journey was this need to detach from and reclaim my energy from a lot of extra dimensional beings, okay? So in the starseed community, we're encouraged a lot of times to connect with our star family and that sort of thing. And yes, we are from other star systems, but that doesn't necessarily mean that other star systems are in alignment with Earth's ascension. And that just has to do with the very nuanced form of the Earth's history that the Earth has channeled. And if that's something that you're interested in learning more about, then You can look at a multitude of my videos on YouTube to get context and history around that. I've actually started a playlist called Starseed Education or Starseed Info, where I'm definitely just going to be going through different star systems and giving information. And there you'll also find some more content as it relates to Indigo type 3s and that sort of thing. But you definitely want to kind of learn as much as you can about the origin of Earth's records to see what karma you're clearing for, especially if you're a really old being, right? And you've been around a while. But all that to say, Indigo type 3s who might feel as though they're at war with themselves because they have these two different consciousnesses that are battling it out. That's a real thing. But what that is that you're activating your DNA, and your non-resonant DNA is battling it out with the DNA that's been suppressed. The electrical frequency DNA is battling it out with the magnetic DNA. Okay. So we've been taught that we're electromagnetic beings and that's how we're supposed to be. But in all actuality, we're moving into magnetism. Okay. The magnetism of the great central sun. The great central sun, which is where the earth is ascending to, is of a magnetic frequency. And the earth herself, her original frequency is also magnetic. Okay. And because of different infiltrations from different star systems and the falls in consciousness that it caused, she went into more of an electrical frequency, but she's not at home in that frequency. And she's experienced a lot of harm and damage within that frequency, which is why she is moving back to her original state of magnetism. Okay. Now, as within, so without. Just as the earth is ascending, and she has to do a lot of, she has to unlearn codependency. She needs to set boundaries and jurisdiction within her field. No, it's not okay to just, take. She's not just going to give to the point of, running herself into the ground, which is what she has been doing. Okay. And a lot of us who are awakening are in that same boat where we're like, okay, we need to make sure that we are loving ourselves at a cellular level and embodying love of ourselves first so we can show up and ascend, right? And reclaim our information and heal what we're here to heal, okay? And so just like the earth is having to get rid of a lot of the electrical frequencies, so are we, the folks who are ascending, the folks who are aligning with the great central sun, need to clear the electrical DNA from our field. What do I mean when I say electrical DNA? That would be DNA of reptilian origin, Alpha Centaurian origin, Pleiadian origin. Those are the main ones that are electrical. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Andromedan is another one. Okay. And a lot of these ones I just mentioned, these groups are glorified in different light worker communities as being like folks that we should take advice from when we ascend. Okay. And so we're going to get into that a little bit more today. I have more content around that, the duping that has gone on in the New Age spiritual community to get us off track with our ascension path. Okay. And this is another reason why I'm choosing to receive my information from the holographic knowledge of Earth as a whole, as well as the nature kingdoms, because truth be told, they're a lot less likely to be manipulated the way humans have been. That's not to say that, Earth and the nature kingdoms are completely innocent in all this. Definitely not so. Definitely not so. But humanity has definitely fallen out of this holographic knowledge and knowing, this unity consciousness. And a lot of the other nature kingdoms have been able to hold on to it a lot more than we have. So a lot of ascension is us taking a seat and learning and reconnecting with Earth and the nature kingdoms and being the student, okay, and dropping the arrogance. Humanity, the human species, we've just adopted a great amount of arrogance. And this is just something we've been indoctrinated into, is like, seeing ourselves as the apex predator and regarding ourselves as such, and then considering Earth and other nature kingdoms as an afterthought. And so that's the old way of doing things. And beings that keep on that path are not going to be able to ascend with the Earth. So that's another reason why, you really want to think about where you're getting your information from. So the non-resonant DNA is why you feel at war with yourself if you have identified as an indigo type 3. And this is as a result of fission thought form. Okay, so I actually just posted a subliminal that might be really beneficial to folks who are dealing with this concept of being at war with self. The name of the subliminal, it has a picture of like an emerald on it, and the name of the subliminal is Heal, Warfare, and Hatred Karma. Okay, so if, issues related to warfare or hatred are showing up within your reality, that might be something, that might be a resource for you to utilize. Because one of the ways that the Earth is ascending is, there's been so much karma, specifically as it relates to warfare with the human species, that, and, Earth is not holding on to all of our density anymore. She's not doing it. So she's returning it back to humanity. So, she's been kind of the dumping ground, the karmic dumping ground, just like a lot of us have been the karmic dumping ground, and how we have to return back false karma and send it back to the source of origin. She's also had to do that as well. And so she's not holding on to all of the trauma records of war anymore. She needs to get that out of out of her field. But, the way that this whole thing works is karma is all about cause and effect. It's not about punishment. It's not about wagging your finger at somebody and being like, you did a bad thing. You deserve to be punished. It's not that way. It's just cause and effect. It's the universal law of cause and effect. If you cause something, then you feel the effects of it, so that you can bring it back to 0 point energy. Okay. And this is how we keep balance in the cosmic realms. Now, things have gotten very much out of balance, which is why we've experienced so many falls in human consciousness. But the way we maintain and obtain balance is to balance out the karmic scales, okay? So this is not Grim Reaper type stuff. This is not, being a punisher or anything like that. This is really just taking accountability. All right, we all got to put on our big people pants at this time and take accountability. And a lot of that's going to be taking accountability for the actions of our ancestry. Taking the accountability for our actions in this present time, because we are our ancestors. But it's also taking accountability for all of the karmic rap sheet of our ancestors, okay? So that means that anything that's showing up in your reality that you don't like, that you're really against, 9 times out of 10, your ancestors perpetuated it, or else it wouldn't be showing up in your reality, okay? And one thing that the Earth has been doing is, returning warfare karma back onto different ancestral lineages who perpetuated it. Well, what does this mean? Well, warfare karma shows up now in your family, in your bloodline. It shows up at work. It shows up with your partner. It shows up with your children. This is kind of now how humanity is dealing with this and reconciling karma. This is why it seems like things are so dramatic nowadays. How a lot of people are finding it difficult to cope as it relates to emotional well-being, mental health, that sort of thing. That's constantly coming up. It's because a lot of us are having to work out karma, warfare karma to be exact. And this isn't just something that plays out in military. That's one manifestation of it. But, one thing that Earth has been doing to safeguard herself, right? So that warfare karma isn't manifested onto her, because she's kind of done at this point with taking on the density of all beings. And can you really blame her? I mean, if you learn about her history and kind of how she started to where she is now, and how she's having to heal herself, you can't blame her, right? We got to like all have our boundaries, and we all need to embody self-love first and foremost. Okay. That's a huge part of this ascension path. But so she's not going to be the sacrifice anymore. So she's been doing certain things to make sure that, instead of there being like a World War III kind of scenario, and I know like the media has us like really focusing in on this, right? Of like, oh my gosh, like World War III and all that stuff. And I'm not here to even predict what's to happen in the future. As it relates to that, the biggest service I can do the world right now at this time is to account for the actions of my ancestry. Okay. And that's my way of contributing to world peace. And, Earth wants us to do that. Earth wants us to, if we don't like what we're seeing in the world, we don't like what's showing up in our reality, let's work on healing the karma for that, okay? Now, people who identify as being indigo type 3s know this. They know this reality. They see that warfare playing out so clearly in their reality. And it's because you are an older soul. You've been around for a while, and you're having to reconcile different ancestral lineages, okay? And you also have what would be considered non-resonant DNA that you are needing to transition out of so you can align with the magnetism of the great central sun. But in order to do that, you have to first go through the karmic records of that non-resonant DNA. I hope y'all are following me with this. Okay, let's get into fission thought form, because this has a lot to do with that. So if you feel like you are at war with self, okay, or if you feel like there's just people who are constantly trying to fight you in different ways, or be at war with you, or sacrifice you, or engage in spiritual warfare with you, this message is for you. So I want to start with the story and even why I'm doing this recording right now. So I knew I wanted to do an update for the indigo type 3s out there, because I still get questions about it. And it's a really important process that you go through as a genetic path cutter, and starting to really get serious about researching karma, healing karma, all that sort of stuff. So even though I don't identify with the terminology anymore, the folks who identify as indigo type 3s, I do identify with y'all, if that makes sense. So I have been doing a lot of healing as it relates to fission thought form. Okay. And I've been doing it for a while. I've been doing it for the majority of 2024. And, the way that karma works is it's not like you just heal karma for, say, abuse, and then that's it. Like, I heal karma for abuse. All records for abuse, like, I heal karma for. It would be great if it worked that way. But what typically happens is you're healing karmic records for different ancestral lines. Okay, so you might ascend into another ancestral bandwidth of another form of abuse. You may have cleared abuse from one part of your ancestry, but then it shows up again as you ascend into another ancestral bandwidth. So I explained this in the genetic path cutting podcast that I just did recently. Okay, so if you want to learn more about that, check that podcast out. Okay, so the same thing with fission thought form. It's probably going to come up again and again and again, because fission thought form is basically the fracturing of self, like to the utmost degree. It's the splitting. All right, the splitting from being whole to fractured. Okay. And so if we think about what a lot of indigo type 3s go through, is they're dealing with this fracturing of self. That's why they're feeling at war with self. Okay. And the cause of that has to do with false ascensions. So there's been many times in human consciousness where humans have tried to ascend, but they've ascended in a false way. A lot of times they've done it by ignoring the shadow, or putting the shadow onto someone else, and then just basically trying to climb up the dimensions and just go towards the light. And that's what a lot of ascension stuff, the a lot of the readings that you'll see, the books that you'll see will still kind of get us in that false ascension patterning of just look towards the light, focus on the light. But then there's like all this shadow that we need to transmute. And you even have some ascension teachers out there saying that you don't have to worry about karma, and karma is only a thing if you make it a thing. I've sat down and listened to many different people with very large followings say this. Okay. So people are listening to this. Okay. But the thing to know is that if you look at the records, the Earth's records, this has caused fission. This has caused nuclear annihilation. Like if you try to ascend, but you don't ascend all parts of your consciousness, then you leave parts of your consciousness behind within dimensions. Like you're trying to go to one dimension and you're leaving a whole bunch of your darkness in another dimension. Everything has a cause and effect. So your fractured part of self forgets its connection to source, okay? And then starts causing chaos in the dimension that it was left behind, okay? So that's why a lot of times there's like a lot of ancestral trauma, or sometimes like when you're healing your ancestry or parts of your ancestry, sometimes like you may have even like don't fully trust your ancestors, or there's like sometimes a lot of like disincarnate spirits that try to cause havoc and stuff on the earthly plane. A lot of this is a result of fission thought form. That, and also when that fracturing of consciousness and soul happens, if those parts are not retrieved, then that fracturing stays within your DNA generation upon generation, and that's how consciousness falls. Okay, so that's fission thought form, and the beings who identify as indigo type 3s, you are here to integrate the polarity. You're here to fix that issue. I did a video a while back called Black Diamond Consciousness. What is Black Diamond Consciousness? Check that out, because a lot of Black Diamond Consciousness has to do with healing fission thought form and integrating polarity. And if you're interested in like going really deep with this stuff, check out the Patreon. I have a lot of meditation specifically as it relates to the Galactic Black Rose tier. This is to support folks who know that they're here to be polarity integrators, know that they're here to transmute a great amount of karma and need to access their Akashic records and need support with doing that. It's a DIY kind of shamanism sort of thing where, the folks who join this are already spiritually inclined, are already very intuitive, but are ready to take things to the next level. So if this is you, check out the Galactic Black Rose on Patreon, okay? So there's a lot of resources as it relates to this. Okay, so let's talk about fission thought form. Right now, I'm reading from Aligning with Earth, and this is a message channeled by the dolphins and the whales. So it says, fission thought form is a very difficult thought form to embody or embrace. Fission thought form causes all other thought form that is whole and complete to break apart, including holographic thought form. And by the way, holographic thought form, that's what we're coming back to. Holographic thought form it's kind of in the name, whole, hollow, whole. Okay, it can't be broken apart. So a lot of the records that, the Akashic records, for example, has a lot of distortions. And to be honest, we're moving from Akashic records to holographic records, okay? Because, the holographic records can't be tampered with. It's not rooted in fission, it's rooted in wholeness, and it's rooted in unity consciousness. And the holographic records can be accessed by all living species, the dolphins, the whales, the trees, like what have you, your higher self, your ancestors, okay? The Akashic records, on the other hand, have experienced a great deal of like manipulations and all that kind of stuff. So it's important to learn your Akashic records and to learn how to navigate them and to organize them and all that kind of stuff and restore order within your Akashic records. But you want to move past that and go into holographic knowing, okay? And that means healing fission thought form. It says, it was It was as fission thought form was anchored through incomplete ascensions leading to combustion that holographic knowledge began to blow itself apart onto the holographic planes of Earth. As holographic knowledge was blown apart, there was not enough understanding to gather it all back together again. So holographic understanding was lost, and the largest and earliest falls in consciousness within our species and yours then occurred. So it's a forgetting of holographic consciousness. There's a certain level of consciousness that we need to embody, or remembrance, ancestral knowing that we need to have in order to access holographic knowing. And we lost that. And that also leads to like nonverbal communication. Like way back in the day, our ancestors used to be like nonverbal too, like they could communicate telepathically and that sort of thing, or they were more well versed at communicating with animals in the nature kingdoms. I know a lot of y'all are tapping into this. Maybe you've always been tapped into this, and you're definitely awakening more and more into communication with the nature kingdoms and the earth. That's you tapping into your holographic knowing. It says, fission thought form creates a continuous breaking apart of the wholeness of self. Although another level of wholeness was restored following each fall, the fission thought form repeated again each cycle of ascension ahead, leading to more incomplete ascensions and combustions of humans, dolphins, and whales. This shattered holographic knowledge yet again led to another vast fall in consciousness thereafter. Okay, so I started this conversation saying that I have been healing fission thought form, consciously doing it since the beginning of this year. Okay. And the reason why I'm connecting fission thought form today with this whole Indigo type 3 conversation is because I got a very clear message. Okay. It was very much made clear to me that I needed to clear fission thought form. I've been integrating some polarity-based thought forms. That's something else that you're going to constantly do on your ascension path, is deprogram polarity through different thought forms. And, on the Patreon, that's something that we're really diving into this month. And so whenever, I guide folks with stuff on Patreon, I'm doing it as well. Okay. So fission thought form definitely came in really strongly. So I started, doing some healing work as it relates to that, doing different meditations and stuff related to that. And I'm sitting outside. I'm sitting by the pool. The apartments that I'm at are very quiet. It's kind of like almost like a retirement. It has that vibe like of a retirement community. I love it. I just need a lot of reflection, and I'm going through a lot of ancestral records right now. So I just need a place that's really quiet. I actually moved apartment buildings. The building I was at before was nice, but it just was, they played music a lot by the pools and stuff. And I like to kind of like do my sunbathing and do a meditation and all that stuff by the pool. It's better for it to be kind of quiet. I'm setting up this story for a reason. Just follow me for a second. So it kind of has that like Golden Girls vibe. I don't know. I feel like I'm in a big old Golden Girls episode and I love it. That's kind of my vibe. At least right now it is. So all that to say, I'm about to start this meditation on clearing fission thought form. And out of like right when I'm about to press the button to clear them or to do the meditation clearing, music starts blasting. And this is very normal. This happens all the time. Like also when I record meditations, especially if I'm going into some like really structural change type stuff, like random occurrences will happen. All of a sudden, now there's dogs barking. I never heard a dog before. And now all of a sudden there's a loud dog barking, or somebody starts screaming, or this and that. It's very common. Interference is very common with this sort of stuff. So I already knew as soon as I heard the music start blasting, I was like, here we go. Interference, But what was funny was as I started listening, because it was like very loud rap music too. Okay. And where I'm staying at right now, that's real. I'm trying to tell y'all, it's really not the vibe. Like I'm setting this up for a reason to let you know how clear this message was. Like, it's not a vibe where you're just going to randomly hear loud rap music. And it was also at a very, like, not, like, it wasn't like, oh, it's later on in the evening and people are having drinks or something, or dinner time or whatever. It's like 2 p.m., okay? And there's no event going on. I didn't even know where this music was coming from, but it was very loud. And then I listened, because the song sounded like slightly familiar, but I wasn't really tuning into the song. And then I listened to the chorus of the song, and it's "Me Against the World" by Tupac. And I just had to laugh at that point, because I'm just like, that is hilarious. Of all the songs I start blasting before I start, clearing this whole vision thought form thing, it's "Me Against the World" by Tupac. And that was a really clear message for me that vision thought form definitely connects to, and healing vision thought form definitely connects to the Indigo Type 3 experience, because I've even shared on different videos that I've done related to Indigo Type 3s. Like, there's this one video that is in the Starseed Info playlist, if you want to check it out, where I even compare different archetypes of celebrity archetypes of an Indigo Type 3. And one of the celebrity archetypes that I shared was Tupac. And I even referenced the song "Me Against the World" in that video. Okay, so now here we go. And boom, Tupac, "Me Against the World" starts blasting when I'm working on healing this vision thought form. And so it was just a really clear message from my higher self to share with y'all, specifically folks who relate to as being an Indigo Type 3 or have related to that at some point. Definitely work on this vision thought form, y'all. This is a huge major key to support you, first of all, with having more ease and flow in your life, okay? And so that things don't feel so hard and feel like such a struggle. I talk to a lot of y'all, and it's just a constant warfare sometimes. And I get it. Trust me, I've been there. Okay. I've been there. And this whole karma clearing thing, like getting really serious about it, has changed the game for me. And clearing vision thought form, clearing the karma, and there's a lot of it, and I'm not done clearing it yet. But still, like clearing the thought form of fission created by false ascensions, not integrating the shadow fully and all that stuff, and how that showed up in my ancestry at many different points is a huge game changer, And so I definitely want to deliver this message to folks who are having this Indigo Type 3 experience to get really serious about this vision thought form thing. And I'm going to leave the article linked below for you to read about it, read the channeling from the dolphins and the whales on your own, so that you can learn more about it and how it manifests. Okay. But it's basically the foundation of brokenheartedness. It's the foundation of war. It's the foundation of hatred, this separation from self, this disowning of self, because that's what you do when you don't own your darkness, when you don't own your density, is you go to war with yourself and you split apart from yourself, okay? And it has this domino effect throughout all of Earth and nature kingdoms. It causes war, it causes annihilation, it causes rifts in the family bloodline, it causes spiritual warfare. It also has a big piece to do with this idea of feeling sacrificed or crucified, or being sacrificed or crucified, okay? If you felt like that, if you ever felt like you've been sacrificed, whatever that means for you, that the root of that is the vision thought form, okay? So really go further back. Like, a lot of y'all are in some really karmic predicaments right now. And you're trying to heal this karmic predicament. You're trying to heal this karmic knot. But a lot of y'all are not going further back enough. Like, if y'all have been here for a really long time, some of your most contentious relationships right now are rooted in very, very, very ancient records that need to be healed. Okay. And vision thought form, and the thought form behind false ascensions is, it's a very ancient record, like from the inception of humankind. Like since humans, got on planet Earth, they've been trying to ascend, but they've been doing so in a way that was deferring their density onto others, or not fully integrating all of themselves before they tried to ascend. Okay. So it's a huge karmic loop that we are disrupting. And that's why things feel really hard for you, whether that's at work or whether it's in your family or just randomly, just you walking down the street, because you're holding on to a lot of density related to fission thought form that you're here to transmute. And you're going to find as you start healing the root of fission thought form that you are going to also be able to get out of these sacrifice programs a lot easier, because these victimization programs are able to stick to you because you haven't healed the root cause of the victimization. It's like if you heal that trauma at the source, these sacrifice programs that are latching onto your field won't be able to latch onto your field because they need trauma to latch onto, So this is really supportive. It's a huge form of like spiritual self-defense to also heal fission thought form. And you do the world a service as well. You literally do a global service, okay? Because fission thought form has caused so many falls in human consciousness. And healing fission thought form can support with the elevation of human consciousness. And, the earth is happy when humans ascend because it makes the earth's ascension easier. It's just like a better time for all beings involved, okay? And it restores us back to wholeness and unity. So I'm going to kind of stop it there. If you want to take a deep dive to learn more about fission thought form, check out the link that I share below. I also have, I just shared a lengthy amount of affirmations on the Patreon to support folks with healing from fission thought form. There's a lot of resources on the Patreon for polarity integration, healing polarity thought forms, which a lot of times are rooted in fission thought forms. So check that out as well. If you're looking to get some more clarity on your particular karma healing journey, I do offer some pre-recorded readings. So check that out. I have an ancestral healing reading on my Ko-Fi right now, as well as a goddess activation reading as well, to support you with just kind of catapulting you into that next phase, And also, if you're interested in one-on-one coaching journeys where you're really want to take a deep dive into this, I'm currently offering 6-week coaching journeys, a 3-month coaching journey, and a 9-month coaching journey. Okay. So if that's something that's of interest to you and you're really seeking to take the deep dive at this time, then check out the links below and let's set up some time to chat. Okay. And sending you so much love, joy, peace, prosperity, and abundance until we meet again. Peace, y'all.